Well, we welcome you to the Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center for our Conversations and Coffee program on this 16th day of January 2025. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of the program. We're delighted to have with us today Stephen Montague, who has created the business of art installation, visual display, design solutions. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
So good to have you as our guest. You're an artist with a call to serve other artists in their sharing, displaying, celebrating their art. Stephen graduated from the Columbus College of Art and Design, and he was sharing with me earlier that he loved printmaking, photography, and then went on to share more and more printmaking and photography by bringing to life the works of others. Your grants and your awards included the National Endowment of the Arts from the Indianapolis Art Center, Individual Artist Fellowship from the Greater Columbus Arts Council, the Fine Arts Award at the Ohio State Fair. Stephen managed the installation of artwork at the Columbus Jewish Center for 10 years. He was asked to install artwork at Denison. From 2013 to 2023, he installed all the exhibits for the Gunn Gallery at Kenyon College. Stephen installed art at the Rife Gallery with the Ohio Arts Council. He served the Wexner Center and managed the McGraw-Hill exhibition space in Columbus and helped them purchase local art. Stephen shares that he created a company, Art Official. He has had 20 exhibitions, 9 grants, and awards. Stephen's installation art focuses on residential, commercial, institutional examples, restaurants, small businesses, universities, museums, corporations, and healthcare facilities. Congratulations, Stephen, and gratitude for your journeys into space, celebrating the work of artists in places, homes, galleries, businesses of our community. Our home celebrates your art of installation of the works we purchased from these wonderful artists connected through the Cultural Arts Center. We thank you for helping us celebrate the art. We look forward to sharing the story of this vocation you have of bringing into space and place the beauty of art. Thank you for being with us, Stephen.
Thank you.
And we were recalling that Stephen was with us 30 plus years ago.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So take it away here.
I'll try to take it away. So this is a company I formed called Artificial. And little did I know, Prince had an album called Artificial. And there's also a rap group called Artificial. So I had a hard time finding the proper website. If you could read that, it's just a few pieces. Whether it's a few pieces that are private residence, exhibition gallery, museum space, a large-scale institution, or institutional settings, we have extensive experience installing artwork. This is, let's say, who are we? And this is Dave Horton up on the scaffolding. This is Jasmine Yetz. And we're installing a piece above somebody's mantle. And we normally do a lot of scaffolding work because most of these homes around here are very extensive. And so it says Artificial was founded in 2003, and we both have a background in art. and we have an experience in displaying artwork and the production of museum, gallery installation, and set design. Woodworking and furniture design also, and we have a wealth of firsthand to facilitate the needs of our clients.
How does that come natural to you, Stephen, to know where to place the work?
Well, in homes, there's usually a couple that have quite a different opinion, and it's sort of navigating the dynamics between the couple and helping them to place the artwork. Usually, the couples, one person's taller than the other, and they have an argument of what height it should be. But there is a standard of hanging artwork visually, whether it's a large piece or small, is like 60 inches. In museums, it's supposed to be 58 for American Disabilities Act, but they don't listen to that. They keep it at 60. But so we could go through different type of venues that we do have. This is residential, commercial, and institutions. And we did work with the Gun Gallery for about 10 years until last year. They got a new director, but she had to change focus, make it her own space. And so we just move on to another institution. So Dave currently is at Kenyon College installing artwork now.
So how do you go about getting clients?
How we get clients is actually through a website. We get a lot of inquiries through the website, which was established in 2003. And we get a lot of commercial calls to install artwork at a lot of condos here in Columbus. There's Crimson Design Group, and we do most of their installations for the clubhouses and stuff like that. And there's other facilities that we go into, like banks and other commercial spaces. And
I've noticed there's more and more hanging of art in commercial spaces.
there is, which I'm surprised. I think that they think there's a need for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help out aesthetically instead of just having furniture and stuff like that. It's amazing how much artwork is put in a lot of these commercial banks, not just for the public consumption, but also the consumption of their employees.
Yeah.
So
So what's the process? Somebody calls you up and expresses an interest, then what happens next?
So usually the contact we usually have is through an art consultant who is outfitting an institution if we're doing institutional stuff. So they're coming in and looking for somebody to help them install artwork. And currently, when they look, our website comes up first because it's been up a long time. So, which is good for us. Yeah. Currently, you won't see too many websites that are like that because usually they go either to Thumbtack or something like that, which is that person either installs artwork or cleans your windows or something like that. It's not somebody who's professional at knowing aesthetics. So, we can justify ourselves by helping people understand of how it should be hung or where it should be hung. And we don't push our agenda, especially with the homeowners. It's something we help them find their voice, basically, to see where they want to install their artwork. So
then what's your actual process? Do you go in and chat with the people, look at the site, and stuff like that?
yeah, they have concerns, and then Sometimes people make excuses for the artwork, but they shouldn't. I mean, they'll say, well, you know, this is my great aunt made this. And I said, that's artwork to you. It's just as precious as a Picasso to somebody else. And so you make their artwork special to them because they shouldn't make an excuse for their artwork. But we help them find it. Usually the couple wants something somewhere, and so we make a decision to help them make a decision. We don't dictate a decision, especially in the homes. But we help them compromise within the couples. So
Are they coming to you to ask for suggestions about what they should put in there, like to choose art for them?
sometimes we do help them choose artwork, but most of the time we work with the artwork they do have. And a lot of the homeowners, there's a large network of framers in town, and most of the framers know us, so they usually recommend us. When we go into a home or any place, we have a wealth of knowledge of how things are to be hung. There's a lot of things that are too heavy for just, you know, D-rings, or, you know, we use cleats and stuff for heavier pieces. So we're also insured, and so if something happens, we could take care of the piece. We also manage the James Gallery at the James Hospital, and a lot of artists bring in work that's it's really nice work, but somehow somebody has to educate some of the artists on how to put the hardware in the back, because we usually have to redo that because it won't hang the artwork. But it's just an
going to
educational
mention
thing.
the James. It's extraordinary. And the artwork, the James.
The James is great. I mean,
You're part of this. You're the ones.
yeah, because I mean, actually, it's on the first floor, which is actually the second floor of the James, and but a lot of people they ask artists locally, and then some galleries are also showing at the James because they know it's very lucrative. They sell a lot of pieces out of the James, so if anybody sees this and you're an individual artist, you should try to apply to the James Gallery, because it is it's a very beautiful space, plus an awful lot of people see it, and they don't take commissions from it. You get all the artwork, the money from your pieces.
We just encouraged an artist who said his basement is filled with his artwork to bring it forward and take it out there.
That's a lot of the case is that's true. Not a lot of artists have a lot of stuff in their basements that nobody sees, and you know, it's something I think an individual has to get over. You know what I mean? They create, but they don't exhibit, and I think that they'll get a lot of feedback once they do exhibit artwork. So we could go to residential, and we could see some of the places that we do. Here's just a few examples that we do. So, you know, this is very minimal that's over here, but then there's a collections of things. And that's a thing, is to coordinate the collection of artwork too. And there's quite a bit of difference of the aesthetics in here, but they all work together.
On that one picture, for example, what's the core? What unites those pieces?
This piece here, I would say mostly it's color, but then there's a lot of portraits in there. So I mean, it's not necessarily a theme, but it's seeing what aesthetically works together, even though it's diverse.
So is there an actual vocal point in that, or is it just each piece is its own vocal?
I think the focal point is when you're working with that would be the lower piece, but you're dealing with squares and rectangles, basically. But aesthetically, that was quite a challenging thing to help coordinate everything together. But I think it worked out well.
So much better than to have it in the lower level of somebody's home. Celebrate that beauty of color. Wow. Wonderful.
Have you ever had somebody tell you they didn't like what you did?
Not yet. But usually we discuss everything. It's an open conversation. You just don't just do it. As working with you, we have a discussion of how that piece meant to you and what it's about. So it's
Bob just brought, well, for our anniversary, beautiful Karen Dahl's work. And
Okay,
there is
yeah.
nobody who could hang that huge piece but Stephen, his, well, partner. Was that David Horton who came with you that day?
Yeah, Dave.
Ah,
Dave's usually with me every day.
well, it's way high up on the wall and gorgeous, gorgeous. As it was a piece of art, but where it is enhances the beauty.
So when we go into a home, we don't, we make suggestions, we don't dictate. It's something that you have to find, especially with homes and residents, you have to find what's meaningful for them. And it's not necessarily, oh, this is the way you should display it. We make suggestions. We don't. And in museums, usually they have, that's already dictated. But even in institutions, once you hang this up, you're next moving it the next day because they make a decision to, no, maybe this is the better thing, which is fine. It's just more time. We get paid by the hour. That's great.
Stephen, you have, I'm a psychologist. To me, you have the art of listening. You have empathetic listening. You help your clients discern what they really want. And you go deep enough with them that you get a sense they get excited or
Yeah, I think they do get excited more about their artwork, or they'll have a piece leaning someplace else, or we'll find something in a closet. And I just show them the merit of that piece. You know, just because their great auntie made it, it's still valuable to them, and they should display it. I mean, if they really like it, they shouldn't be ashamed of it. But institutions and museums and stuff like that, galleries, they you listen to the curator.
You get paid by the hour. So
Yes.
if you have a more extensive job that requires scaffolding, how do you go about like the price difference?
The price difference is still by the hour. When we're setting up the artwork, I mean, the scaffolding, we're still getting paid. Because in order to achieve that, that's what we have to do. So our hourly rate is like $200 an hour. So that takes a lot of things in factor, because sometimes we're usually picking up artwork at framers and stuff like that. Or we get shipments of artwork to my shop, and so we have to uncrate them and then put them in my van and drive them to the locations. So
I was thinking, who has a big house around here? And doesn't Eric Clapton live around here somewhere?
Yeah, Eric Clapton, but I haven't been to his house. But no, there's plenty of houses. I live in Clintonville, and a lot of the houses I go into, my house could fit in their living room. But it's quite interesting to see the different designs of houses and stuff like that I go to. Then we work a lot with a lot of interior designers.
Do you ever help people decide, and I know you do, what piece of art would be the best piece? Did you decide about this one? That's just wonderful. It just blends
Well, it is
in.
wonderful, but that was through a designer.
Ah,
And
okay,
designers
well.
you have to listen to.
That's beautiful.
Curators and designers you listen to. Sometimes we'll tell them that's not possible to do something, but never in a gallery, in a residential place. It's like, well, no, that can't be done. But very frequently, we do everything.
Where did you get that gift of placement? How you know how to place something?
Well, the standard is no matter where you go, is 60 on center. So you build from that. That's when you are talking to a couple. You help compromise by saying that that's usually the museum standard. But over a fireplace, it's either 6 or 8 inches. You don't want to put it up really high because it's not going to engage the furniture that it's with. So that's how you determine that.
How did you come to that? Is that natural in you?
It's a natural thing. You would just see that 6 or 8 inches if you're above a side table or a mantle or stuff like that. So once you put it up a little bit higher, what you are doing is you're disengaging the piece with the rest of the architecture or the furniture. And so why is that floating? It needs to have some sort of sense of gravity. So I'm trying to get to the next page. How do we do that? And here's some commercial stuff we do. Obviously, if anybody's been into a Raising Cane's in Ohio, we installed every Raising Cane's in Ohio. So, there's not much we get intellectually or emotional about Raising Cane's, but it's a big money maker.
Do you have other fast food restaurants along as well, or sit-down diners?
Well, we used to do a lot of Cameron Mitchell stuff, but not so much. But we've done like 50-some Raising Cane's, and so they're starting to send us out of state and stuff like that. But it's worthwhile.
Typically, how long would it take you to do a Raising Cane's?
Raising Cane's, it'll take us like 2 days. And
8-hour days, or
what?
are they 8-hour days? Are they 10 hours or 5 hours or?
Probably an 8-hour day, but sometimes you have the driving and stuff like that. So usually we stay overnight. So except if it's in town.
It's a full-time gig for you then.
Oh, this company is a full-time gig, yes. So we try to diversify ourselves with institutions, interior designers, and commercial stuff. And we get a lot of calls from outside the state of Ohio because when they're searching for art installers, our website pops up first when they're looking for that. And I think we have a fairly good website. It shows what we do. And then we tick all the boxes off with that we're insured. So if something does happen to a piece, we take care of it. So usually the insurance company does a payout, and then it's my piece. Really, you don't realize that as an artist, if something happens and you make a claim on it, and they pay that out, you don't get to keep the artwork too. You only get the money. And basically, that's never really happened to us as a company. There's been, in all the years that we've been doing it, this one piece was damaged a little bit, so we actually paid the artist to repair it. This was a car collector, and I did his garage like, I'd say 10 years ago, and then he went into this garage. And actually, this is just a portion of it. It's like, I think, 3 football fields of his collection. And so we put up all these signage for him. And he was really happy. He remembered us from like 15 years ago when he had a small garage.
What city is he located in?
What?
What city is he located in?
It's Columbus or Reynoldsburg or something like that. Yeah.
How many cars does he have?
I didn't count. But I've hung in garages with like the Jags people who own a lot of cars. But he was real passionate about his work, and he remembered us from years ago when I just hung 2 or 3 pieces.
The hanging of those signs, what would you name them, is a work of art in itself. Wow. How you've placed those.
There's a chandelier I hung in downtown Columbus.
Mobile.
Yeah, it's like a mobile, yeah. And we had to bring that up through, it was just pieces and parts, but I was familiar with all the rigging, which is the cabling and stuff like that, because it's something I use quite a bit. But we had to bring it up on scaffolding on the outside of the building.
Surfaces that you just don't like to hang on or are real troubling or?
Well, no, not really. I mean, we really don't like to hang in cement because it creates a lot of dust, but we have a vacuum while we're doing that. Some of the older homes, you don't know what kind of substrate it is really. It's either lath and plaster and stuff like that. Lath and plaster is a little bit harder to hang in. You'll find that in German Village and also up in Bexley and in Clintonville area. But there's certain kind of screws that will be able to engage the lath, and we don't walk away from a project wondering. We make sure it's going to stay.
Steve, in the last almost 30 years, I've worked in 4 nursing homes, and really only one has what you have to offer. And if you're ever looking to market, I'd be happy to help you find those places that lack art when these people spend their lives there. And the one that's beautiful is called Tuscany Gardens, and it's filled with northern Italian paintings, framed and hung beautifully. And it creates an atmosphere that really is helpful to folks, and a lot of places don't have that where people live, if you get what I'm
I
saying.
think that's true. Kind of ironically, like my mom was in a care facility in Dublin. It was called Glenwood, and then she had passed in her sleep, and then just this year we were back in that same space. It was rebranded and stuff like that. It was kind of odd for me to go back there because I'd be passing her room all the time. But somebody else bought the facility and wanted to rebrand it by putting other artwork up. And it was kind of interesting because you could talk to the patients that are there and what they felt. And so those places are kind of special because people come up to you and talk to you about the artwork while you're hanging, which is kind of unique. So this was an interesting piece because this is all backlit. We actually had to make a frame and stretch that, and then we had to backlight this piece. So that's it was a client of ours. We actually moved it to his other condo, and we had to make it smaller too.
About the clock or the whole wall?
This whole wall, the clock and the bridging and stuff like that. So it's like a translucent material that you stretch. So we had to make the stretcher there because we couldn't bring the frame in. We had to bring it in pieces and parts. And then we moved it to a smaller place that he had. And then he sold the place and kept that there.
It's exquisite.
What is it made of? What is the material besides the fabric or whatever stretched? What's the frame out of? Is it wood or metal or?
We used wood, and what we do it is stretch it almost like a canvas. So we put upholstery staples in it, and so we were able to pull those.
So you created the frame with all the X's and everything?
No, that's part of the image, really. All this was an image that was made to be backlit.
Do lights, if there's electric components to it, do you do that too?
Not unless it's plug-in. We don't do electricity unless it was lighting that we could just staple up on the wall, and then we plug it in. I don't do electrical plumbing.
Was that printed or?
That was printed. It was printed.
You must have had an enormous printer.
Well, it wasn't. It was a product from actually it was a furniture company that was in the short north. It was I forget, Italian couches or something like that. So
It must have been a wide.
So he just.
A rare printer,
Well, I'm sure it is. Yeah, and I don't think it was printed here in the States. So.
It's a jet printer. Isn't that? It's amazing what they can.
Yeah,
do.
it is amazing what they do. Yeah.
It's what they can do with computerized equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to know how they operate it.
I'm trying to imagine, that's just a flat piece of art, that whole wall.
Yeah, that whole wall is. Yeah, you could see there's a corner right here. That's where we cut it off at, and then the brick. It goes from. We measured to fit within like an inch or so on either side. Before it was bigger because he had a larger wall.
Floor space in the building where you could lay that out and do the stapling and all that.
Yeah, what we did was move all the furniture, and we had it up on sawhorses, a bunch of sawhorses, and we assembled the frame. We actually used the frame that we had before and cut it down. And I wish I had pictures. I do have pictures somewhere of us working on it, but not here.
A couple days at least too, wasn't it?
That was like a day to restretch it, really.
What type of sceneries do you do for the walls?
Sceneries?
Yeah.
I really don't. This is a unique to us. I did use, one of my jobs was I built sets for Players Theater. That was a long time ago. But that's where I learned a lot of carpentry, is building sets.
When I'm in New York, on the subways, a lot of times the designers of sets and stuff, they're on there, figuring out how everything works.
Sure, yeah.
And that's an art in itself. So
Oh, yes.
Fit everything.
A lot of the stuff is building light and stuff like that. And when we look at institutions, I built most of the pedestals there, and most of the pedestals I'll build really light because I'm going to be handling them, but I build them strong.
What I like about it is the dark and the light in the back and the cloth, this and that.
Yeah.
And it just really brings out the room.
Yeah, he was really pleased with it.
Yeah, I think he would be, yeah. Very nice.
Is that like in Buggy Works lofts, or where is that?
No, that was over North Bank area.
Nationwide in back.
Yeah, it's Nationwide. Yeah, Nationwide in the background, but it's Nationwide who builds most of those over there. Nationwide Realty.
The president of CCAD, when you were there, Joe Canzani,
Yeah.
would say, we had him for conversations and coffee, and he wanted to do everything to build the beauty into the city.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, this is what I hope is my legacy.
Yeah.
And you truly place this beauty right in our city. That is breathtaking.
Well, we just
gorgeous.
Help customers or clients, help them curate their own artwork.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make the collections for them, but we help them install them aesthetically. So.
Do you ever suggest to your client to purchase more pieces for a space? If you go in and you think.
Yeah, if I know what once I find their aesthetics, I would suggest artists, or I have quite a collection of artwork from Pace Gallery that was posters. Pace Gallery used to be here in Columbus, Ohio. It was on East Broad Street, and it was the Glimshers owned it, which Glimsher Realty Trust, who used to be the largest owner of malls in the country, square footage. But it was a really nice place. I remember visiting it when I was in high school, and you could buy a Picasso small vase for $100, but that was expensive back then. Now they're worth thousands.
Lois Nevelson.
Yeah. I met Louise Nevelson there when I was a kid. It was amazing the people they brought in.
Getting those all lined up perfectly, it's art in itself.
Yeah, those are just that was at the JCC here in town.
So are you approaching retirement from this, you think?
If I am, I think Dave will just take over the business, who's been with me for 20 some years. So that's what my wife acts all the time. So.
You're a great team, though. I saw you working together.
Yeah, we are a great
It would
team.
be hard to imagine, though, he'd have to work without your consult, which is a particular gift of understanding space.
So this is at the gun gallery, and this is mostly Ganesh, which is the deity that has um, the elephant. So then you recreated this canopy here and all these pedestals across here.
Carpentry work there to do the canopy, that was carpentry work, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we do a lot of carpentry, and I learned a lot of carpentry through working at Players Theater. So this is another exhibit. Could be the same exhibit. If you ever, you should go up to Kenyon College to see the gun gallery. Gun gallery has excellent shows. We did work there for 10 years, so. So these were suspended heads. So there's like a grid up there. You create a grid.
Amy wants to know if it's anybody you know.
Let's see if we can expand that. It talks about, I can't seem to expand that. It is actually, I think it's DNA from, I forget who it was from, and then it's the different images you can get from that one particular DNA.
What's been your most interesting customer?
Most interesting customer? It's probably the gun gallery. Because they bring a lot of different artists in, and you get to interact with a lot of different artists themselves, plus their work.
Okay.
So,
Have you noticed that, dealing with some type of customers that you got, their brain goes this way and that way?
yeah, when you do, so in museums, you are working with the artist, but the end person is the curator or the director of the gallery.
Somebody in the middle.
Yeah, let them negotiate that.
Yeah, good. I can just see it.
Yeah, and they have the final say, and a lot of artists defer to them because they know that they want to make their artwork the best and to have it to be displayed the best. These were exhibitions of war rugs. Part of this exhibition, you could see what we hung over here, and it's reflected over in here on this glass piece. But I think that was, no, this wasn't the war rugs, but this was a quilt, and I can't think of her name, but she just passed.
Artist here who just passed, Jean Wiseman.
Mm-hmm.
Jean Wiseman?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This one was African American women and girls going to a portrait gallery which has the Mona Lisa and stuff like that. And there's Dave looking at the work we just hung.
The heaviest piece that you've
Actually, believe we painted the chalk on the wall.
slate or?
No, it looks like slate. I made the tray and screwed it into the wall, but we just painted. It's, yeah.
You know, I see you're creating an actual illusion where people really think that's a blackboard.
Yeah.
And the thing, and it's just interesting how you can create an illusion like that. You know, you're looking at it and you think you're really in a classroom.
Well, a lot of artwork is illusion. The artwork itself and the artwork of displaying it too. You try to enhance what the artist wants, and hopefully we achieve that. Oh no, these are the rugs I was talking about before. These are Afghan war rugs, and so um, these are fighter jets. These were the Russian fighter jets at the time, and like these are parachutes over here, and guns and stuff like that. And there's like tanks over there, and the rugs changed according to who was the occupier. So when Russians were there, you'd see Russian planes and tanks, and when we were there, the rugs changed to reflect the armament that we brought in.
Prayer rugs, is that what they are?
No, I don't know exactly, but they're rugs that, I mean, they traditionally they make rugs there, and this is how they reflected their observation of the world that they were experiencing. And this was at the gun gallery.
I think you missed a question earlier. One of the ladies in the back was asking what was the largest piece or heaviest piece that you put?
The largest and heaviest piece, let's see. There's a piece, I forget the sculptor's name. The museum has one. It's a lady in reclining, and it was in front of the gun gallery. And the gun gallery had this was a large sculpture up on a pedestal, and it was cast in lead. So, but lead is sweet if you taste it. That's why children used to eat it, because it was sweet. Well, squirrels like it. So the squirrels were eating this sculpture. So Graham Gund, the name, the Gund Foundation, basically, he went to Kenyon College as a student. And I think his sister went there, and he designed the building for the gun gallery. He took that sculpture back and had it recast in bronze and put the other one, don't know where. Hopefully squirrels won't be eating it. But that was about the heaviest piece. And we had a lot of, facilities at the college to help us move that. And another art installer in town, who I've known for years. And this is like a case we made to hang on the wall.
I want to ask, is the gun gallery, is it G-U-N-D?
G-U-N-D.
Okay, because there's
So if you watch PBS a lot, it will say this is brought to you by the Gund Foundation.
there's a graduate school of design at Harvard that's Gund. It's
Yeah.
the name of the school.
It would be the Guns.
Yeah.
I think they may, I forget how they made their money initially. I think it was in like the Cleveland area. I think it was banking way back in the 20s or something like that. So
Gotta get a gun? Is that did you ever hear that advertising slogan? I don't know, it was like a teddy
no,
bear?
I
or
don't know what
gun?
that's
Gotta get
about
a
now.
gun?
And okay, this was at the Zanesville Art Center. We did some work for them for about maybe 2 years. I think they're struggling with funding and stuff like that.
That's gorgeous.
So I think this was an Ohio competition. People submitted, and these are all Ohio artists that displayed. But as you could see, we made all these. Actually, these pedestals we made for Denison, and they made their gallery smaller, and so they Zanesville picked them up.
What are they made out of?
Usually it's plywood. It's usually 3/4 inch on two sides and 1/4 inch on the other two sides to make it light with structure in between. It's the type of structures that we built in theater. So mostly people would use like 3/4 all the way around, but since I'm a preparator and have to pick them up and move them all the time, I want to make them lighter.
And who
But I
among you
understand that they're
decided?
going to actually build a new museum, the Zanesville Arts Center. You should go there. I mean, they have really nice pieces for a small town museum, and their art collection, their permanent collection, is really nice. A lot of paintings, and of course, pottery came from there, so they have a lot of pottery. That's another exhibit at the Zanesville Art Center. This is a piece from the gun gallery. And most of those are shipped to us in a crate. You have to put them up.
Assemble that and set it up like the artist wants it then.
Yeah, you do.
Directions come with it or.
Well, other exhibitions, you could look at exhibitions that I was in before, and then I'm sure that the curator or collection manager speaks with the artist, and we adjust them.
You had some suggestions for the layperson that bought some art, but they just want to hang it on their wall. It's not too heavy or anything like that. What suggestions would you give them to approach hanging their art that they just bought or made?
Well, if they bought like several pieces and there's several different sizes, keep to 60 on center, because you don't want your eye to jump from one center line to the other. And also, I know framing's expensive, but it's worthwhile to have it framed. Even, I think frame shops are better than Hobby Lobby. They're about, I mean, you're going to save just a few bucks if you went to Hobby Lobby, but go to a framer. And most framers are willing to work within your budget. And once you have it at a framer, they'll put the proper hardware in the back. And that's what you need, is the proper hardware to put your artwork up. And then when you're at the framer, tell them what kind of substrate you're going to be putting on. Plaster walls, lath walls, brick walls. And so then they would suggest to call me, or they'll give you advice on the hardware you need to put up your artwork.
What's that thing in the middle?
It's a cauldron that has for fire. So of course we didn't have fire in the gallery, but you could see the cutouts. It's made out of steel.
Oh, yeah.
See those little cutouts? I don't have the ability to blow this up so you can see those details. Yes? S'mores? Well, yeah, you could do s'mores, but not in the gallery because you don't have the fire.
What's the language that's on those stools? I mean, what do they say?
Oops.
let's see. There's different sayings on them. This is bordered. I don't know exactly the meaning of that piece.
Chairs?
They're chairs, yeah, to sit around. And there's a commentary.
You know, when you use that word fire, Stephen,
Yeah,
a lot of you know that we had a house fire
yeah.
in 2017 into 18. And it was on the 19th of December. And 10 months, 12 months later, after the house fire, thank God, took only part of our house. We had it restored, but we were looking at these walls that had to be celebrated when we came back in. And guess who helped us celebrate? Put the art up, knew where to put it, and the tapestry on the wall was truly an amazing feat on your part. And it represents so many of you as artists to be part of our very home. And Stephen Montague, you made that possible.
Well, thank
We
you.
celebrate that every day. And Tracy Steinbrook, a wonderful artist here, gave us the work of Smokey Brown, a homeless person who was an artist. And Smokey and Tracy gave us this work that we just recently hung. You just recently hung. And we just ongoingly celebrate who you are for us as family, for the city. Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
And thank you for being with us today. We were blessed.
Thanks.
Yes.